Hello and welcome to Newscope Daily TV, your trusted source for in-depth global analysis, breaking developments, and the stories shaping the future of our world. Tonight, we bring you a powerful and thought-provoking report coming out of West Africa, where shifting geopolitical dynamics are raising serious questions about international influence, military stability, and regional power struggles. At the center of this discussion is Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation and one of its most strategically important states, now facing internal security challenges, institutional pressure, and growing scrutiny over its military effectiveness. At the same time, attention is turning toward renewed external engagement, particularly from Western partners, including the United Kingdom, which is reportedly increasing its military and financial support to Nigeria. But as this assistance unfolds, important questions are being raised. Why now? What are the deeper motivations? And how does this fit into the broader contest for influence across West Africa? To fully understand these developments, we will explore not only the facts on the ground, but also the competing narratives shaping public perception, from concerns over internal military weaknesses to contrasting regional examples where states are pursuing different models of sovereignty and security realignment. Stay with us as we break down the layers behind this evolving geopolitical story, separating fact from interpretation and analysis from speculation. This is Newscope Daily TV, where the world's most important stories are explained clearly, deeply, and without distraction. In recent discussions emerging from geopolitical commentary channels, a narrative has taken shape suggesting that the United Kingdom is increasing its injection of financial aid, military equipment, and strategic support into Nigeria at a particularly sensitive moment. According to this perspective, Nigeria is currently facing significant internal strain within its armed forces, including allegations of corruption, operational inefficiencies, and possible internal sabotage. The timing of this support, critics argue, raises important questions about broader Western strategic intentions in West Africa. This article explores that argument in depth, situating it within the wider regional context that includes shifting alliances, military transitions, and the contrasting trajectories of countries such as Nigeria and Mali. Nigeria's strategic importance in West Africa. Nigeria remains one of the most strategically significant countries on the African continent. With a population exceeding 200 million, it is the largest demographic power in Africa and one of the continent's largest economies. Its vast reserves of oil and natural gas make it a cornerstone of global energy markets, while its political stability is often viewed as essential to the security of the entire West African region. Because of this, Nigeria is not only a national actor, but also a regional anchor. Any instability within its borders has ripple effects across neighboring countries such as Niger, Chad, Cameroon, and Benin. This strategic importance is central to understanding why external powers, including the United Kingdom, maintain a strong interest in Nigeria's military and political stability. The UK's reported military and financial support. Recent reports and political commentary suggest that the United Kingdom has been expanding its military cooperation with Nigeria. This support reportedly includes provision of military equipment and logistical tools, financial assistance aimed at counterterrorism operations, training programs for Nigerian armed forces, intelligence sharing cooperation, particularly in counterinsurgency efforts. From an official standpoint, such assistance is often framed as part of long-standing defense cooperation agreements and joint efforts to combat extremist groups operating in Nigeria's northeast and the wider Lake Chad basin. However, the narrative under examination interprets this support through a more skeptical lens, questioning both its timing and strategic implications. Questioning the timing. Why now? A central argument presented by critics is that the timing of this renewed or intensified support is highly significant. They point to ongoing challenges within Nigeria's military structure, including persistent insurgent attacks in the northeast, allegations of corruption in procurement and logistics systems, weak morale among certain military units, reports of internal coordination failures, concerns about infiltration or sabotage by non-state actors. From this perspective, injecting new resources into a system perceived as unstable raises critical questions. Is this support purely defensive and stabilizing, or does it serve broader geopolitical objectives? The argument suggests that such timing may indicate urgency from external actors who see Nigeria's stability as increasingly fragile and potentially at risk of shifting influence. The allegation of Western strategic influence. A key theme in this interpretation is the idea that Western countries, including the UK, are seeking to preserve their influence in West Africa at a moment when that influence is being challenged. West Africa has recently experienced a wave of political and military transitions, with several countries re-evaluating or rejecting long-standing partnerships with Western powers. This has created what some analysts describe as a geopolitical vacuum, where influence is actively contested by multiple global actors. Within this framework, Nigeria becomes even more important because it is the region's largest economy. It remains a major oil exporter. It is a key security partner for Western counterterrorism strategy. It serves as a diplomatic anchor for ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States. The argument therefore suggests that strengthening Nigeria's military capacity may be less about immediate security concerns and more about preserving long-term geopolitical alignment. Nigeria's internal military challenges at the center of the critique is the claim that Nigeria's armed forces are currently under significant internal pressure. While official sources often highlight operational successes against insurgent groups, critics emphasize structural weaknesses such as institutional corruption. There are recurring allegations that procurement processes and defense spending are vulnerable to mismanagement. This, critics argue, weakens frontline capabilities and reduces operational efficiency. Logistical breakdown reports from conflict zones have occasionally pointed to shortages in equipment, inconsistent supply chains, and delayed deployment of reinforcements. Coordination problems. Nigeria's security challenges involve multiple actors: army, air force, police, and intelligence agencies, which sometimes leads to overlapping mandates and inefficiencies. Internal trust deficits. Some analyses suggest that trust issues within the military hierarchy may undermine cohesion, especially in prolonged counterinsurgency campaigns. From the critical perspective, these issues create an environment where external assistance becomes not only helpful, but potentially decisive. Mali as a contrasting case. Sovereignty and military realignment. A major component of the narrative is the comparison with Mali, which has undergone significant political and military transformation in recent years, following coups and a reorientation of foreign partnerships. In this framing, Mali is presented as an example of increased military sovereignty, reduced reliance on Western military structures, greater alignment with alternative security partnerships, a more assertive stance on national autonomy. Supporters of this interpretation argue that Mali's recent military successes are portrayed as evidence of a broader shift in West Africa toward rejecting traditional Western influence in favor of independent or diversified alliances. This contrast is used rhetorically to highlight Nigeria as a remaining stronghold of Western alignment in the region, thereby intensifying the perceived significance of UK involvement. The broader geopolitical struggle in West Africa beyond Nigeria and Mali, the wider West African region, is experiencing a complex realignment of political and military relationships. Several factors are contributing to this dynamic. Increasing competition among global powers for influence in Africa. security crises driven by extremist groups in the Sahel and Lake Chad regions, economic pressures linked to inflation, debt, and resource dependency, rising nationalist and anti-interventionist sentiment in some states within this environment. Military support is rarely viewed as purely technical. Instead, it is often interpreted as part of strategic positioning, where training, equipment, and funding are tools of influence. From the perspective presented in the original argument, the UK's involvement in Nigeria is therefore not isolated but embedded in this broader context for influence. Interpreting the motives, stability, or influence. The central question raised by this narrative is whether UK assistance to Nigeria is primarily a stabilization effort, supporting counter-terrorism operations, strengthening regional security, preventing state collapse or fragmentation, supporting humanitarian stability in a high-risk region. B. A geopolitical strategy, preserving Western influence in a key African power, countering rival global actors expanding in Africa, maintaining access to strategic energy and trade routes, ensuring alignment with international security frameworks. In reality, these two interpretations are not mutually exclusive. Foreign policy often operates in overlapping layers of humanitarian concern, security cooperation, and strategic interest. A region in transition. The debate surrounding UK support to Nigeria reflects a much larger reality. West Africa is in a period of deep geopolitical transition. Traditional alliances are being questioned, new power structures are emerging, and military partnerships are increasingly viewed through a strategic, rather than purely operational lens. Nigeria, due to its size and influence, sits at the center of this transformation. Whether external support is interpreted as stabilizing assistance or strategic positioning depends largely on the analytical framework applied. Meanwhile, comparisons with countries like Mali highlight the diversity of political trajectories within the region, some moving toward renewed military sovereignty, others maintaining long-standing international partnerships. Ultimately, the situation underscores a fundamental truth of modern geopolitics. In regions of strategic importance, military aid is never just about weapons or funding. It is about influence, alignment, and the future balance of power. And that wraps up tonight's deep dive analysis here on New Scope Daily TV. We've explored the growing debate surrounding international military support to Nigeria, the concerns raised about internal structural challenges within its armed forces, and the broader geopolitical context shaping West Africa today. As we've seen, this is not just a regional security issue. It is part of a larger global struggle for influence, stability, and strategic alignment. But the story is still unfolding. The decisions made in the coming months by governments, military institutions, and international partners will have lasting consequences not only for Nigeria, but for the entire West African region and beyond. We want to hear from you. What is your perspective on these developments? Is this support a necessary step towards stability or part of a wider geopolitical strategy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this analysis valuable, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to News Scope Daily TV for more in-depth reports, and share this episode with anyone who wants to understand global affairs beyond the headlines. Your support helps us continue bringing you clear, detailed, and independent analysis every day. Until next time, stay informed, stay aware, and stay critical of the world around you. Good night from all of us at New Scope Daily TV.